we spent so much time making sure we had so much more inventory. That's why we took the time, and you guys are doing it again. We're nearly sold out on everything, and I can't believe it. Even flour sprinkles, which I knew was going to be the big one again, so that has more inventory than all of it.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like raspberry spread on a Ritz cracker. The same kind of raspberry spread, jam, jelly, preserve that you can buy in any supermarket in the United States.
Imagine stepping away from royal duties, facing the entire British tabloid industry head-on, starting over in Hollywood and thinking, you know what'll finally win them over? Jam. Yes, raspberry jam. I'm talking about Meghan Markle's latest reinvention, which was supposed to be soft, elegant, luxurious, and edible. But instead, it got absolutely obliterated by none other than a culinary nuclear weapon, Gordon Ramsay. Now, fans are saying this is an absolute car crash, Meghan Markle's jam launch. A disaster so wild it made Megxit look like a quiet Tuesday. Some are even calling it a story so juicy, so sticky, and so downright savage that the internet crowned it #Jamgate. And people, it's not just about jam, it's about reputation, reinvention, and what happens when branding meets brutal honesty. Let's get into it. So, Meghan's been trying to pivot, again. After the podcast flopped, the Netflix deals fizzled out faster than a candle in a wind tunnel, and the royal drama cooled, it was time for something new. Enter, as ever, a lifestyle brand serving curated vibes, hand-packed promises, and one very bougie jar of raspberry jam.
This just arrived from Meghan. I am so excited. Okay, it's beautiful, as ever box. I know her writing. This needs to be like a font we can all download. So I was shopping, probably like so many of you, clearly, yesterday on the site, and everything, literally the entire site, sold out.
Soft pastel labels, organic, farm to table, handcrafted with love. You know the drill. However, people pointed out that this wasn't just jam, especially when Meghan is involved. Most of them are saying this was a statement. Specifically, Meghan's post-royal debutante ball, a new chapter in a dusty rose jar. But fate, or maybe karma, had other plans. You see, Meghan's PR team, in all their wisdom, decided to soft launch this luxury fruit paste. Everyone was already anticipating the release. In fact, even before anything was officially sold in stores, there was already a pretty huge buzz around it. And so, when Meghan finally made the launch, people were wondering how the already famous jam tasted. Some were even curious how food critics would rate the jam since Meghan spoke so highly about it. But not everyone. This is where Gordon Ramsay enters the picture. We all know how this guy operates, right? And whenever food is involved, he's almost immediately mentioned. Meghan's jam venture was no exception. In fact, people were very eager to know what he had to say about it. Now, it might take a couple of tries before Gordon actually tastes the jam, but here's the thing. We don't even need to wait for Gordon to taste it to know how bad the business is doing. Why? Well, multiple critics have already slammed the spread, and let's just say they don't have many good things to say. The common verdict? Her jam is too runny. One of the loudest critiques came from Donna Collins, an actual jam competition judge in England. She knows jam. She breathes jam.
She says that Meghan Markle's apricot spread, the new one, which I don't even think it's come out yet, unless this is a second launch from the first one in April, which I happen to miss. But she says it's runny, and there's no excuse for this. This is in fact the apricot spread that came out 2 days ago for pre-order, and mine actually hasn't shipped yet, but my other products have. But this is it, looks really good.
So, when she took a look at Meghan's product, her reaction was, quote, "It's a real disappointment that Meghan is selling a fruit spread, which is what you make when your jam fails." Let that sink in. A certified jam expert said Meghan's jam is a disappointment. According to Donna, the consistency was way off. It looked too runny, like a syrupy fruit spread instead of a properly set jam. And in the world of preserves, that's basically a crime. In her own words, "It can have the best ingredients, but if I had a jam that was too runny, I'd slap a label on it and call it a spread." So, what did Meghan miss? Well, apparently, real jam has very specific standards. especially in the UK, where jam must have at least 60% sugar content to legally qualify as such. Meghan's version? It didn't meet the mark, not in consistency, not in content. And that's just the beginning. Donna also pointed out how Meghan's fancy gold label didn't even list the ingredients, no breakdown of the fruit-to-sugar ratio, no information on preservatives, just vibes and branding. Which brings up the next point. Is this about quality, or is it just another celebrity cash grab? But wait, there's more. One of Meghan's favorite media allies, The Cut, just turned on her, publicly. Yes, that Cut. The same outlet that gave Meghan one of her first glowing interviews after she and Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties in 2020. Well, fast forward to now, and they've got an entirely different taste in their mouths. In a bold move, The Cut had 12 staffers taste Meghan's raspberry jam, and what followed was a roast so bad, it should have come with a content warning.
It's kind of chunky. She's ready. A little salty.
Features editor Catherine Thompson didn't hold back, saying, "I wouldn't pay $14 for this. Its consistency is a little too thin for my taste. You really wouldn't be able to spread it on toast." Features writer Emily Gould took it a step further, calling the jam slimy and viscous, a bit like baby food, generously raspberry puree. But it gets worse. Senior writer E.J. Dixon flat out said, "It sucks," adding that it looked more like a pinkberry topping than a proper jam. They didn't stop there. E.J. added, "I would argue that not only Bon Maman is far superior, but also Smucker's. Very disappointing." The jab about Meghan being better at jam than podcasting, that was pure shade. And it landed. Just like that, what was supposed to be a cozy, relatable jam and toast fairy tale turned into an embarrassing moment of deja vu for Meghan. Another high-profile project, another round of harsh reviews. Even though a few staffers tried to defend the product, like deputy editor Jen Ortiz, who said she liked the runny texture and added, "Sue me, I loved her show." The general consensus was brutal. Too sweet, too thin, and definitely not worth the price. And that's not all. Some critics are now calling this jam rollout a marketing ploy, accusing Meghan of intentionally keeping the supply small just so she could brag about it selling out.
According to plan, a well-placed source told The Telegraph that all of Meghan's products were purposefully produced in small quantities in order to be quickly marked as sold out and generate interest, a common marketing ploy.
Others question whether this is just Netflix trying to recoup losses after investing over $100 million in the couple's content deals, including the much-criticized With Love, Meghan cooking show where the jam and teas were heavily featured. Now, if the expert critiques weren't enough, regular folks are chiming in too. Social media's been side-eyeing the whole thing. One user commented, "Anyone with some sugar and fruits can make this dumb jam." Another said, "There was only 4 cases in stock. That would be 1 batch equals 48 jars." Even fans of Meghan are asking why a woman of the people is dropping 40 jam without any ingredient transparency. And honestly, that's a fair question. But here's where it gets even messier. This jam fiasco is just the latest example of Meghan's ongoing struggle with authenticity. Whether it's the Spotify deal that got axed, the Netflix shows that fizzled out, or now this, the narrative is starting to look eerily repetitive. Promising beginnings, polished branding, and then it all falls apart. Was the jam supposed to be a soft re-entry into public life? A way to win hearts through homemade charm? If so, it's backfired spectacularly. Because instead of Meghan reinventing herself as a modern-day Martha Stewart, she's being memed as the Duchess of Disappointment, again. So now the internet's asking, did Meghan bite off more than she could chew with this jam launch? Is the As Ever brand already doomed before it even begins? And most importantly, was this all just another PR distraction? One thing's for sure. When it comes to Meghan Markle's jam, the only thing thick about it is the controversy. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments and stick around for more.